Welcome to the Mindset School podcast. My name is Inga Pakalnishkita. I'm a life coach, neuroscience geek, and entrepreneur. In each week, I will bring an inspiring topic, easy to use tools to help you become the best version of yourself so you can create the life that is beyond your wildest dreams. Let's get started. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Mindset School podcast. Today's episode is inspired by the 4 transformation stories you have heard over the past 4 episodes on the Mindset School podcast. So, what I hear a lot, and the reason why I decided to do this episode on the process of change is to really break down the process and to show you the steps so you can create a transformation and a change in your life. As I go along breaking down the process of change, I will be referencing the real examples from the previous episodes to show you that change has a process and that these 5 steps work for everyone. If you haven't had a chance to listen to the previous episodes, I would highly recommend you do right after this episode. Even if you had a chance to listen, next time you will be listening to them, you will have a completely different perspective because you will be looking for those steps and you will be able to recognize in other people's stories, which will help you to implement the same steps so much easier in your own life. So if you haven't had a chance to listen, go back and re-listen with a completely different eyes and ears. Step number 1 is recognize what is not working. The first step to any transformation is describing what is not working and what you don't want in your life. Only by verbalizing or writing all of it down, you will be able to identify what is it that you want instead. It is so easy to get stuck in the misery of frustration and be focused on what is not working. That's why it's so important to say it out loud to somebody who can actually listen to you and be there for you so you can listen to your own voice and what you just said, or you can simply take a piece of paper and write all of it down. So what is not working? What I don't want in my life? And what do I want instead? Usually it's so much easier to start with what you don't want and what is not working to really narrow down to what is it that you want instead. And remember, where you place your attention, that's where all of your energy goes. And if you want to make a lasting change, you have to put all of the energy to where you want to go. Raquel, for example, in episode 6 described she had enough of playing small, feeling stuck and unhappy. As we started coaching sessions, she quickly identified a few main goals that would make her feel happy at that time. Finding a job in photography, getting back to physical training, and prioritizing her needs were the goals that she wanted to focus on to make her feel happy. Just 2 months later, she landed a job as a junior photographer, completed 27 obstacles out of 30 in a Spartan race, which created an evidence in her brain that she can accomplish absolutely everything she wanted if she wanted it really bad. So that really allowed her to lay a foundation to create anything she wanted every time she set up something for herself. And this is what she continues to do. Go back and listen to the episode 6 and see what kind of transformation she has made in her life and how she is now helping other women to do the same. Celia in episode 9 recognized that working full-time was not sustainable for her health, and she wanted to create a life that didn't make her feel exhausted due to her highly sensitive nature. By making a decision to allow guilt-free rest and take the time off to find a daily rhythm that allowed her to maintain a good energy levels, she was able to open the door for her intuition to tell her to seek for more and follow the calling to work with people. Down the line, she created a business which now suits the rhythm and the life that she wanted. Recognizing what is not working and describing what you want instead is the first step to create a change. Step number 2, make a decision and take ownership. Once you describe what it is that you don't want and identify what it is that you want instead, you have to make a decision to change and take ownership of your actions. You see, wishing for life to change is like asking a taxi driver at a holiday destination to take you someplace he thinks you want to go. Imagine you just landed in New York for your holiday and you have no idea where you want to go, and you just sit in a taxi and you allow the taxi driver to take you where he thinks you might enjoy, but he has no clue. So you might be lucky and the taxi driver will ask you a couple of questions about the kind of places you like, which if you answer to those questions in a little more detail, will increase the likelihood of getting you to a place that you will actually like. But if the driver decides to make the decision for you, or you choose not to give any clues of the place you would like to go, you will end up with 3 options. Number 1, you will like the place he has taken you. There is a high chance that this will happen. Number 2, you will think, well, this is okay. I don't really like this place. I don't really dislike this place, but choose to roll with it. Number 3, you will not like this place at all and you will think, get me out of here. Another example here, Roberta in episode 8 shared her biggest mindset shift that allowed her to transform her own health and become symptom-free from polycystic ovarian syndrome, which was taking responsibility for her own health and stopping to see herself as a victim of the circumstances. So she really had to let go of all of those stories that she said to herself that a doctor has more power than she is, but she decided to really take the ownership to research and to find different ways of how to help herself, which led her into studying nutritional therapy and then becoming a nutritional therapist, and now being a women's health expert, helping other women to understand their own hormonal changes and how to make transition in their life and become symptom free. You see, even if you know what is not working and you have an idea what would you like to have in your life, without a commitment to yourself and taking ownership of your own life, you will not take the action necessary to create the change. You have to decide to make change and take ownership. Remember, you are the one telling the taxi driver where you want to go. Step number 3, know your why. I believe you have heard this so many times that you have to know your why, but let me explain why it is important for you to know your why and invest enough time understanding that. You see, all of our actions are driven by emotion, and all of our emotions are driven by the words that we say, whether out loud or quietly in our minds. By saying out loud or writing all of the reasons you want to make the change and why it is important for you, you will be able to generate and feel those emotions. Everything that we do or we don't do is the result of how we feel. A simple example, let's say you have committed to go and visit your friend for a barbecue, but on the day you wake up and you just feel exhausted and you say to yourself that you should rest today. And then what you do, you send out a message to your friend saying that you are not feeling well and you're going to stay in. So how you felt really led you to act a certain way. So that's why it is crucial to understand your why, because this will generate the fuel and the energy so you can take the action that will produce the results you actually want. For example, Amira in episode 7 described the emotions that led her to hand in a resignation at the teaching job and start her own online business. Internally, she had a deep knowing she was meant for more. The teaching job became too stressful and she couldn't spend enough time with her kids and her husband. She wanted to be a good mom, work from home, be her own boss, and have a flexible schedule so she can be there for her kids. These emotions really fueled her why and made her to have a courage to hand in a resignation even without knowing what's next for her. And that deep knowing that she's meant for more really supported that for her. Another example here, Roberta in episode 8 described wanting to feel good in her own body and be radiant from within, which led her to taking control of her own health by studying nutrition, lifestyle changes, mindfulness, mindset to become symptom-free from polycystic ovarian syndrome, and down the line, becoming a licensed nutritional therapist. Step number 4, take action. Action is the only way to create change in your life. Even small actions like reading a book, taking a course, making a phone call, handing in a resignation, submitting a job application can be a huge step to making a lasting change in your life. Now, why most people fail even when they take action to create a lasting change? It's simply because they skip the first 3 steps. They fail to recognize what is not working and identifying where they want to go, deciding and committing to change, and really taking ownership of their actions, and connecting with the emotions, why they want to make this change, how this is going to benefit them, who will they become as a process of creating this change, how will this benefit their family, their co-workers, their company, their business, really connecting that on the emotional level to create that fuel, to generate it. Once you know all of this, taking action becomes easier and the actions will start generating the results to create the change that you want, because you are really being purposeful. You know the direction, you know where you want to go. You will have the fuel that will power you to take the action, and you will know why you're doing this. And if you will have a listen to all the 4 transformation stories, you will hear this over and over again. Now, step number 5, review and take more action. The more action you take, the more results you will create and the more feedback and information you will have. These will give you more and more clarity, more and more information, helping you to make further decisions and leading the direction you want to continue. Stopping to review your actions and the results it has produced is absolutely necessary. Remember, that was the first step in creating the change. You really need to see what's working, what's not working, where you want to go. So this is exactly the same thing. So once you have taken the action, you have to really see, well, what's working, what's not working, where do I need to invest more of my energy, where do I need to invest less of my energy, where do I need to take more action so you can get more and more information. Usually when you start to make the change in your life, the initial direction might be a guide that is going to take you towards the right direction. But once you take more action, once you get a little bit more feedback from those actions, you have more clarity of what's next. And you start to narrow down exactly where you want to go. That's why it is so important to review and take more action. All right, so let's recap the 5 steps to create a lasting change in your life. Step number 1, recognize what is not working and identify what you want instead. Step number 2, make a decision and take ownership. Step number 3, know your why and really connect with it on the emotional level. Step number 4, take action. Step number 5, review and take more action. If you're looking to create a change in your life, use these 5 steps as your guide. These 5 steps are universal and work in each area of your life, and it can be used over and over again each time you want to create something new in your life, you want to create a change. If you're somebody who is looking to create a change in your life, get unstuck and really go for your dreams, I have something special for you. I decided to give a huge discount on my one-to-one coaching sessions for 10 people who are ready and are committed to get unstuck and take their life to another level. If you would like to find out more, simply visit ingapakalniškyte.com/empowerment offer or click the link in the show notes. All right, you guys, thank you so much for listening to this podcast episode. I hope these tools have been helpful, and I will speak to you next week. Bye now. If you loved this episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with your friends. If you are a social creature, take a screenshot of this podcast, include one insight you learned from this episode, and tag me at Inga Pakal. I cannot wait to see your insights. Also, you might want to check out my free audio guide, How to Get Unstuck, which also includes a workbook. You'll learn 3 simple strategies to generate clarity, regain direction, and feel energized. Simply visit ingapakalniškyte.com or click the link in the show notes. Once again, thank you so much for listening, and I'll speak to you next week. Bye now.